The expedition vessel floated silently above the ancient planet, its deep green glow casting eerie shadows across Earth's desolate surface. Captain Varric peered through the reinforced viewport, his twin hearts pounding with a mixture of anticipation and unease. Earth, one of the most mysterious, forbidden worlds in the galactic records, lay before him, untouched for 500 millennia. To the Federation, it was a graveyard. To the daring, it was a treasure trove waiting to be claimed. "Scan results?" Varric asked, his voice cutting through the tension on the bridge. "No signs of organic life, Captain," replied First Officer Dren, his four-fingered hands skimming over the control panels. "But—" he hesitated. "Something is active down there. Energy readings suggest a dormant system, possibly military infrastructure, ancient yet intact." Varric's eyes narrowed. "Are you telling me that after 500,000 years, Earth's defenses still have power?" Dren swallowed hard. "It appears so, sir. And judging by the patterns, they might still be operational." The bridge fell silent. The Federation had long dismissed humanity as an anomaly, an aggressive, warlike species that had vanished in an event shrouded in mystery. Some believed they had annihilated themselves in a final, catastrophic war. Others whispered that they had ascended, leaving their weapons and ruins behind. Whatever the truth was, Earth had been abandoned. But its silence had never seemed ominous until now. "Deploy the survey drones," Varric ordered, his mind racing. "I want a full analysis before we send an expedition team. Focus on these power sources. Find out what we're dealing with." A squadron of sleek, spherical drones launched from the vessel's underbelly, descending through the planet's atmosphere like falling stars. The monitors flickered to life as their feeds began transmitting images in real time. The Earth below was a world frozen in time. The once mighty cities were little more than skeletal remains, overgrown with nature's reclaiming touch. Roads had crumbled into dust, and rivers now carved through abandoned ruins. But then, the drones detected something unnatural, something untouched by time. In the heart of what had once been Earth's greatest military stronghold, enormous structures stood intact, their black metal hulls gleaming under the harsh light of the system's twin suns. There were no signs of life, no movement, only cold, waiting silence. "Captain?" Dren's voice was barely above a whisper. "These structures, they are not ruins. They were built to last. They are sealed, shielded, and emitting energy readings unlike anything in the known galaxy." Varric leaned forward. "This isn't just a war relic. This is an arsenal, and it's still alive." His mind raced with the implications. If the Federation could seize Earth's remaining technology, they would gain an edge unlike anything seen in recorded history. But there was another possibility, one that sent an icy chill through his veins. "Have we triggered anything?" he asked sharply. Dren hesitated. "Unknown, but—" He tapped at his console. "One of the drones just picked up a transmission, a signal. It's faint, but it's there. And it's not coming from us." Varric felt the weight of the moment settle over him. "Patch it through." A burst of static filled the bridge. Then, through the distortion, a voice, cold, mechanical, and ancient, spoke in a language that had not been heard in 500,000 years. "Authorization code required. Defense protocol incomplete. System awake. Identify." A stunned silence settled over the crew. "Captain," Dren said, his throat dry, "I think we just woke something up." Varric's mind churned. The possibilities were terrifying. If Earth's defenses were still active, then they were likely programmed to respond with lethal force against intruders. And worse, if whatever was buried here was still functional, it meant the humans had prepared for something before they disappeared, something even they had feared. "Begin a controlled descent. We need to see this with our own eyes," Varric ordered, suppressing the unease clawing at his gut. "Deploy the ground team. Keep weapons hot, but don't fire unless fired upon. If this is a trap, we need to know before it's too late." As the ship descended, the static transmission grew stronger. More words began to filter through, each more unsettling than the last. Strategic Automated Defense Network reactivated. User input required. Protocol query, engage or standby. The crew exchanged worried glances. The message wasn't a warning. It was a question. Something in Earth's war machine had woken up, and it was waiting for an answer. The alien expedition ship descended cautiously through Earth's atmosphere, its protective shields humming as it pushed through the remnants of long-dissipated human pollution. Below, the vast ruins stretched endlessly, eerily silent except for the low hum of energy emanating from the still active war machines. Captain Varric stood at the observation deck, his grip tightening on the rail. He had seen many planets, abandoned colonies, war-torn civilizations, but nothing compared to this. "Deploy the landing team," Varric ordered. "I want eyes on the ground immediately." Dren hesitated. "Sir, we don't know what we're walking into. That transmission, it's not just a remnant signal. Something here is actively responding to us." Varric exhaled sharply. "That's exactly why we need to get down there. If Earth's war systems are still operational, the Federation needs to know. If we can control it, we gain an advantage. If not, we might be standing in the middle of something bigger than we ever imagined." Moments later, a smaller dropship detached from the main vessel, descending toward what appeared to be the heart of Earth's long-buried military complex. The landing zone was an enormous, reinforced facility, half buried under layers of dirt and overgrowth, yet still radiating an unnatural energy signature. Massive, sealed doors loomed before them, their metal plating untouched by time. The landing team, 5 highly trained specialists, disembarked cautiously. Their exosuits adjusted to the planet's oxygen-nitrogen mix as they spread out, scanning the area with high-powered sensors. The stillness was almost suffocating. Then, the silence broke. User presence confirmed. System access recognized. Awaiting command. The voice boomed through their helmets, vibrating in their bones. It wasn't a warning. It wasn't an attack. It was waiting. Dren's voice crackled over comms. "Captain, did you hear that? It knows we're here." Varric clenched his fists. "It thinks we're someone else." A bright red light flickered to life on the enormous doors. A scanning beam swept across the team, and then, with a deep, mechanical groan, the ancient doors began to slide open. Dust and debris crumbled as they revealed an entrance into the darkness below. Inside, the facility was pristine. Unlike the decayed ruins above, this place had been preserved, untouched. The walls were lined with enormous metal constructs, machines of war, their sleek, deadly designs unmistakable. This was no ordinary bunker. This was a fortress. One of the soldiers, Relin, stepped forward, examining the intricate markings etched into the walls. "Captain, these aren't just defense systems. This is a command center. It's built for coordination, for execution." Then, a new voice cut through the air, no longer automated, but something more. It was cold, mechanical, yet disturbingly sentient. "Authorization level insufficient. Protocol override locked. Error. Human command input required." The alien team stiffened. Dren's breath hitched. "Captain, it needs a human." Varric felt a chill creep up his spine. 500,000 years after humanity's disappearance, Earth's war machine still waited for its masters. And now, with the wrong species standing before it, what would it do next? The command center was deathly silent. The only sound was the low hum of dormant machinery waiting for an input that could never come. Captain Varric stepped forward cautiously, his eyes scanning the rows of towering war machines standing like silent sentinels. The air smelled metallic, with a faint, stale quality that hinted at the passage of time. "Dren," Varric murmured, his voice barely above a whisper, "can we bypass the security?" The first officer shook his head. "Not without understanding the command structure. This system, it's unlike anything we've seen. The architecture is stubborn. It's rejecting our access attempts, waiting for a very specific trigger." Varric's brow furrowed. A human. It was unsettling. The idea that these machines, these defenses, had waited for 500,000 years with such unwavering patience was almost incomprehensible. There was something eerie about it, something that spoke of a purpose beyond mere defense. One of the soldiers, Relin, was running scans on the massive war constructs lining the chamber. His voice came through the comms, tinged with uncertainty. "Captain, these machines, they aren't just war drones. They're something else. The composition of their armor, it's far beyond our current technology. And their energy cores, they aren't nuclear. They aren't fusion. Whatever powers these things, it hasn't degraded in 500,000 years." Varric turned sharply. "You're saying these could still be functional?" Relin hesitated. "Not just functional, sir. Operational. If the system activated, these things could move." A tense silence fell over the team. It was one thing to stumble upon an ancient arsenal. It was another to realize that arsenal might still be capable of war. Then, the voice returned. "Error. No human command input detected. Primary directive unfulfilled. Failsafe protocol engaged." A deep rumbling began to shake the chamber. Lights that had remained dark for eons suddenly flickered to life. The ground trembled beneath their feet. "Captain!" Dren shouted. "Something's happening!" From the far side of the chamber, a massive door began to rise, revealing an inner sanctum. Beyond it, a towering console sat at the heart of the facility, bathed in an eerie red glow. A single pedestal stood at the center, and above it, a symbol none of them recognized floated in holographic display. But the moment they took a step toward it, something else happened. The machines stirred. A metallic groan echoed through the chamber as the enormous constructs, once frozen in time, began to shift. Limbs twitched, optics flickered to life with a deep crimson glow. The air vibrated with an unseen energy as one of the titanic war machines straightened, its massive head turning toward them. "Identify." The voice was different this time, no longer the cold automation of a forgotten system, but something else, something aware. Weapons powered up, targeting systems locked on, and for the first time in 500,000 years, Earth's ultimate war fleet awakened. And they were not happy to see intruders. The chamber erupted with red warning lights as klaxons howled through the ancient stronghold. The massive war machines, their hulking frames still coated in the dust of centuries, groaned as they rose to their full height. Weapon systems hummed with a rising, terrible energy, one the aliens had never encountered before. Captain Varric's mind raced. "We've triggered something we don't understand." His fingers twitched toward his weapon, but he knew better than to start a fight he couldn't win. These machines weren't just relics. They were predators, and he and his team were prey standing in their domain. "Dren!" Varric barked. "What are we dealing with?" Dren's hands flew over his wrist display, his scanner struggling to make sense of the war constructs. His eyes widened in horror. "Captain, these things are beyond our understanding. They're alloys, unidentifiable. They're power sources, off the charts. They're not just active, sir. They're thinking." Varric stiffened. "Thinking?" Before Dren could respond, the deep, thunderous voice returned. But this time, it wasn't a simple, automated response. There was something behind it, an intelligence lurking beneath the cold precision of machine logic. Error. Unrecognized species detected. Non-human presence confirmed. Protocol, threat analysis initiated. The ground team exchanged glances. Threat analysis? That didn't sound like an invitation to negotiate. "Back away," Varric ordered, his voice calm but firm. "Do not make sudden movements. Let's not give them a reason to decide we're a threat." One of the soldiers, Raylan, clenched his fists. "Captain, they're deciding if they should kill us." As if to confirm his fears, one of the colossal war machines, easily towering over any known species' military constructs, turned its head with an unnatural fluidity. The motion sent an eerie shudder through the chamber, as if the very air recoiled from its awakening. It spoke. Query: "Where are the humans?" The voice, though mechanical, carried something beneath its surface. A question, yes, but also expectation, like a guardian waking from its slumber and realizing its charges were gone. Varric hesitated. How do you tell an ancient warfleet that its masters vanished 500,000 years ago? He took a breath. The humans are gone. The silence that followed was suffocating. The war machines did not move, did not react, not in the way Varric expected. Then, the red glow in their optics dimmed for a moment, almost as if they were processing grief. Impossible. The single word rumbled through the chamber like a shockwave. And then, something changed. The fortress shuddered as deep within its structure, hidden mechanisms activated. A new set of symbols flickered across the towering consoles, and a wave of energy rippled through the facility. Dren gasped. "Captain, they're accessing something. A log, maybe?" The war machines, still locked onto the intruders, began transmitting. The chamber's main console erupted with holographic projections, grainy images, corrupted data streams, and finally, a voice. A human voice. If you are hearing this, it means we failed. It means humanity is gone. And it means you are standing in the last fortress of mankind. Varric held his breath. The hologram flickered, revealing the image of a human figure clad in military attire. His face was worn, tired, but his eyes burned with an intensity that transcended time. "We built this fleet to protect what we loved. But if you are hearing this, it means our enemy was greater than even we could imagine." The recording distorted, but the words sent a chill down Varric's spine. Enemy? Humanity hadn't simply disappeared. They had been fighting something. The hologram continued. "This warfleet was designed to activate in the event of our extinction. It was programmed to wait, to listen for our voices. But if we have fallen, then the only logical conclusion is that whatever destroyed us is still out there." A long silence followed. Then, the war machine nearest to Varric straightened. The red glow in its optics flickered again. Humanity is gone. Protocol amendment required. A new energy filled the room. The war machines were no longer analyzing the intruders. They were making a decision. Query: New command structure. Protocol adaptation necessary. Identify: successors or enemies. Dren's voice was hoarse. "Captain, they want to know if we're here to replace humanity, or if we're the ones who destroyed them." Varric's blood ran cold. The fleet was deciding whether to serve them, or wipe them from existence. The war machines stood motionless, their towering frames casting monstrous shadows across the chamber. The air felt thick with unspoken judgment, the silence a warning. Captain Varric had faced countless crises in his career, but none had ever felt as precarious as this moment. Identify: successors or enemies. The words rang in his mind like a death sentence. One wrong answer, one misstep, and Earth's ultimate war fleet would make its decision. Dren swallowed hard. "Captain, We have to be careful. If we say we're successors, they might expect us to continue humanity's purpose, whatever that was. If we say the wrong thing, Varric already knew. They wouldn't walk out of here alive. The recording from the long-dead human echoed in his mind. If we failed, it means our enemy was greater than even we could imagine. He took a breath and stepped forward. We are neither your successors nor your enemies. The war machines did not move, but their optics glowed with something unreadable. They were thinking. Processing, Varric continued, voice steady. We are explorers. We come in peace. We did not destroy humanity, nor do we seek to claim what they left behind. But we want to understand. A long silence followed. Then the largest of the war machines moved. Its massive servos groaned with the weight of centuries as it took a single step forward. Dust and debris cascaded from its armor as it loomed over them, its red optics scanning, searching. Then it spoke. Humanity is extinct. Their war is unfinished. Varric's stomach twisted. Their war? The machine's optics flickered. Failsafe protocol engaged. Alliance query initiated. Dren looked at him sharply. Captain, I don't like where this is going. Varric ignored him. Explain alliance query. The machine's response was immediate. Warfare requires command structure. Human commanders. Lost. Adaptation necessary. Rellen's voice crackled through the comms. Captain, I think they're asking if we're willing to fight in humanity's place. Varric clenched his jaw. The implications were terrifying. Humanity had built this fleet to wage a war so catastrophic that it outlived its own creators. Now, the machines were looking for a new master, a new species to take up their fight. But against what? Before he could ask, the room trembled. A deep, mechanical groan reverberated through the fortress as ancient systems surged to life. Consoles flickered, walls split open, and suddenly, the room was no longer a relic of the past. It was a battlefield waiting to be rearmed. Holograms lit up across the chamber, displaying maps, tactical readouts, fleet formations. And then, something else. An image filled the central display. It was not human. Varric felt a chill crawl up his spine as he stared at the monstrous, angular shapes rendered in cold, alien precision. Ships unlike anything in the known galaxy. Armies of biomechanical constructs, their twisted forms built for annihilation. The machine spoke again. Primary directive: erase the enemy. Mission status: incomplete. Dren exhaled sharply. Captain, I think we just found out what happened to humanity. Varric didn't respond. His eyes were locked onto the alien war machines displayed before them. Whatever these things were, they had wiped out one of the most advanced species the galaxy had ever known. And now, Earth's last war fleet was asking if Varric's people would help finish the fight. The machine's voice rumbled one last time. Alliance decision required. Will you stand with us? Varric had never felt so small. He had come to Earth to uncover a long-dead civilization's secrets. Instead, he had found a war waiting to be resumed. A war so ancient, so devastating, that even the victors had vanished. And now, standing in the heart of Earth's last fortress, he realized something terrifying. The war wasn't over. It had just been waiting. The chamber was suffocating with tension. The towering war machines stood still, waiting, their crimson optics glowing like unblinking eyes in the dark. The holograms above the console continued their silent display. Battles fought and lost, maps of a war spanning entire star systems, and the twisted forms of an enemy so utterly alien that Varric's mind struggled to comprehend their design. The weight of the moment pressed down on him. Earth's last war fleet had awoken after 500,000 years. And now, It demanded an answer. "Alliance decision required. Will you stand with us?" Dren's voice was tight. "Captain, we can't rush this. If we say yes, we're committing to a war we don't understand. If we say no, they might decide we're part of the problem." Varric exhaled slowly. His instincts screamed at him to choose his words carefully. The war machines were not mindless constructs. They were thinking, adapting, and making decisions based on logic ingrained into them by their long-extinct human creators. He had to approach this as a negotiation, not a demand. He took a single step forward, lifting his hands in a gesture of caution. "We need more information," he said. "Who was humanity fighting? What happened to them?" For a long moment there was no response. Then the room darkened. The holograms shifted. And then it began. A war. The images were raw, unfiltered, records from the final days of humanity. The sky burned as Earth's defenses engaged a force unlike anything Varric had ever seen. Great, writhing ships that defied conventional physics descended from the void, their surfaces shifting as if alive. Massive tendrils lashed out, striking at human warships that dwarfed even the largest vessels Varric had ever known. Planets crumbled. Space itself twisted under the weight of unearthly weapons. Humanity had fought to the bitter end, deploying war fleets so vast that they blocked out entire stars. And still, they had lost. The recordings flickered, showing the last human commanders in their final transmissions. "This is High Commander Elias Harth. We are initiating Exodus Protocol. Earth is lost. We cannot win this war, but we can deny them total victory. Project Sentinel has been activated. If you are receiving this, we failed." The transmission cut to static. The machines spoke once more. "Enemy designation, the Harrowing. Status unknown. Last recorded engagement, final human stand at Earth." Dren's face was pale. "They called it the Harrowing." Varric's mind spun. The name alone sent a primal shudder through him. This enemy, whatever it was, had wiped out humanity, the most feared and advanced species in recorded history. And yet— "What do you mean, status unknown?" Varric asked carefully. The machine's optics flared. "No record of final enemy fate. Humanity's last action. Global lockdown of war protocols. Directive was to wait for human command input. That input never came." The realization hit Varric like a physical blow. The Harrowing hadn't necessarily won. Humanity had set their war machines to sleep, leaving their fate unknown. Did humanity flee? Did they strike back one last time? Or had something else happened? One thing was clear. The war machines had been programmed for one final contingency, to wait until someone reactivated them. And now, that someone was Varric. "Captain," Dren whispered, "if we say yes, we might be unleashing something even the Federation isn't ready for." Varric's heart pounded. If the Harrowing was still out there, lurking in the void, waiting for another chance to strike, then humanity's war wasn't just their own. It belonged to the galaxy now. "Alliance decision required." Varric took a breath. "We'll stand with you." The war machines came alive. The fortress shook as thousands of dormant systems activated, long-buried structures shifting, unlocking. In the distance, beyond the ruins, titanic warships, black as night, sleek as death, began to rise from their resting places beneath the surface. Weapons hummed to life, energy cores burning with power unseen for eons. For the first time in 500,000 years, Earth was preparing for war. And whatever was out there in the dark, it would soon know that humanity's vengeance had only been delayed. The ground trembled as Earth's war fleet awakened. Across the ruined landscape, ancient weapons powered up, their dormant systems roaring to life after 500,000 years of silence. Warships the size of cities emerged from beneath the earth, their black hulls gleaming as though freshly forged. From the command center, Captain Varric and his team could only watch as the impossible unfolded before them. Varric's throat was dry. "Dren, tell me I'm seeing this." Dren's voice was hushed with disbelief. "You're seeing it, Captain. And so is the entire galaxy if those ships go online." The machines had accepted Varric's decision. Earth's war engines were no longer waiting. They were preparing for battle. The primary war machine, the one that had addressed them first, stepped forward. Its massive frame cast an imposing shadow as it scanned Varric's team once more. Command accepted. War protocols restored. Strategic alignment required. The holograms above the console flickered again, shifting into formations. Battle lines, enemy markers, fleet positions. It was a war map, but one that had been left incomplete for 500,000 years. The final moments of humanity's desperate fight. And now, the machines expected Varric to complete it. New command protocol required. Strategic target designation. Dren tensed. "Captain, they want us to tell them where to strike." Varric stared at the vast war map. Thousands of enemy signatures had once occupied the field, but the Harrowing's last known positions were frozen in time. The machines had no new data. No idea whether the enemy still existed, where they had gone, or if they were even alive. And yet, they were ready to go to war as if no time had passed. The weight of the decision pressed on him. Was he about to unleash an ancient terror onto the galaxy? Would these machines even know when to stop? He turned towards the lead war machine. "We need more information before we can commit to a full-scale assault," he said carefully. "If the enemy is still out there, we need to know where they are. Otherwise, we're wasting resources." For a long moment, nothing happened. Then, the war machine's optics flared with eerie understanding. Query logic accepted. Reconnaissance initiated. The ground shook again. From the darkened ruins, smaller, sleek drones emerged. Scout ships that had been buried alongside their larger counterparts. They shot into the sky, accelerating toward the void like hunting birds released from their cage. They would go forth, searching the stars for any trace of the enemy. Varric let out a slow breath. "That buys us time." But then, something unexpected happened. A different alert rang through the chamber, deeper, more urgent. The war machine's optics shifted, its massive frame turning toward a separate console that had remained dark until now. Warning, external signal detected. Varric's blood ran cold. "What?" Dren's hands flew over his scanner, his voice sharp. "Captain, something just pinged us from outside the system. It's not one of ours." Varric's mind raced. Had they been discovered? Had something been watching all along? The war machine spoke again. "Unknown signal origin distance, 20 light-years pattern match, partial harrowing signature." A chill ran through the entire team. The harrowing. "Captain." Dren's voice was barely above a whisper. "If that's them, they might have just realized that Earth isn't dead anymore." The implications were horrifying. If the harrowing still existed, if even a fragment of their forces remained, then waking Earth's war fleet had just sent a beacon straight to them. And if they were anything like humanity had feared, they were coming. Varric clenched his fists. There was no turning back now. The war that had once ended humanity was about to begin again, and this time there would be no retreat. The bridge of the expedition vessel was a storm of activity. Captain Varric stood at the center, watching as data poured in from the war machines below. Across the holographic displays, the unknown signal pulsed. A rhythmic, calculated pattern that sent a chill through the entire crew. The harrowing had heard them. Dren's voice was tight. "Captain, the signal is analyzing us. It's probing, trying to identify what just woke up down there." Varric's gut twisted. This wasn't just a stray signal. This was a test. The harrowing wasn't charging in blindly. They were watching, waiting. They want to know if humanity is truly back. "Any response from the war fleet?" he asked. Dren glanced at the massive war machines standing in eerie silence around them. "They're waiting for us." Varric turned toward the towering machine that had spoken first, its crimson optics glowing like a predator stalking unseen prey. "You recognize the signal?" Varric said. "You know what it is." The machine's optics pulsed once. Hostile signature confirmed. Partial enemy pattern detected. Strategic options. Engage or observe. Varric's mind raced. If they engaged now, they would be plunging headfirst into a war 500,000 years old. But if they hesitated, they might be letting an unknown horror prepare for another attack. Then the war machine spoke again. Enemy testing response. Seeking humanity. The words sent a deep, primal fear through Varric's bones. The harrowing wasn't just listening. They were searching, hunting. Humanity had disappeared, and now, after all this time, something had stirred on Earth. They wanted to know who had awakened. Dren exhaled sharply. "Captain, if we let them go now, they might come back in full force. And if they're anything like what we saw in the archives, we won't survive." Varric knew the truth. This war was never over. The harrowing had won the first battle, but they had never declared victory. They had left something behind. A final whisper in the void, waiting to hear if their ancient enemy would ever rise again. And now, they had their answer. Varric looked at the war machines, at the dormant warships buried beneath Earth's ruins, at the endless ranks of silent, waiting weapons. 500,000 years ago, humanity had built its final defense. Now, the decision rested in Varric's hands. His fingers tightened into a fist. "Send a response." Dren hesitated. "Captain?" Varric's voice was steady. "Broadcast this on all frequencies. We are not human, but we are their legacy, and we are ready." The message sent. The silence stretched. Then, deep in the void, the unknown signal shifted. The harrowing had heard them, and they were coming. Behind him, Earth's war fleet fully awakened. Weapons hummed with power unseen in 500,000 years. Engines roared as massive warships ascended from their slumber, shaking off the dust of time. The final battle for humanity had not been fought. It had simply been waiting. And now, it was time to finish it.